Georgia, Alabama. There it is. The dogs, 2.5-point favorite, 52.5 is the over under. This is how you analyze this. There's two things. If you're a big Saban guy and nobody beats Saban and his assistants never beat him in the big game, it's not going to happen. Of course, you like Alabama. If you say, well, that SEC game, that meant more to Bama and Georgia's actually better than they showed, then you're going to go Georgia. And that's what I'm going to say. I think I can make a good argument for Georgia getting complacent in the SEC championship. Listen, they were up 10-0. Up 10-0. They know they're in the playoffs, right? And they must be like, all right, we could let up a little. And that's when Saban got everybody going, and they ended up blowing the game. But I think these teams play 10 times. I think Georgia wins 7 out of the 10. I know Bryce Young gets all the accolades, but Stetson Bennett is not going to screw you. He's not going to make mistakes. Kirby Smart playing with a chip on his shoulder. And small favorites, parlay kid, in the last 7 national championship games, this counts as a small favorite. Small favorite 6-1, 5-2 against the spread. Average margin of victory 17.5. Not only do I like Georgia minus 2.5, Meatballs, put this in the graphic. Georgia minus 7.5 plus 180. That's what I'm going with. I think this is a whitewashed 33-17. It'll be right around the over-under. That's how I'm going. I think a few of us have Georgia. Probably Kid, you like them as well.
I like that, Sal. I like you taking a gamble there because sometimes these games, teams pull away in these big games late.
Right.
When, the other team's got to maybe risk a little bit more late. But I like this. Look, we've always said it seems like in college it's maybe a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, it's always difficult, no matter what sport it is, to beat a good team twice. Like to go 2-0 against a good team is always hard. And the advantage always seems, in a lot of cases, again, maybe not so much in this Alabama-Georgia matchup, but, historically in sports, just following any type of sport, when there's two good teams and one team wins one time, it's always hard to get the win against them the second time. So I kind of like Georgia's for that reason. You got to remember, there's no Mechie now, really Alabama's second best receiver. They can focus on stopping Jameson Williams right now. Without Mechie. Mechie had 6 catches for like 97 yards and scored the first game. They don't have to worry about him now. And let's face it, when watching Alabama against Cincinnati, there's not another receiver after their number 1 in Williams that scares you on Alabama. So I think Georgia can really focus on the one receiver. Georgia produced 0 sacks in the first game. This is a team that constantly pressures the quarterback.
Yep.
That was upsetting to the coach. They'll find a way to get to Young, force a turnover or 2, and get a bunch of negative plays tonight. That will ultimately be the difference in this game. I'm taking Georgia minus the 2.5.
Yeah, Auburn pressured Young. LSU pressured Young. I know they lost, but LSU gave him a hard time. I think this defense steps up. They really, I think they play pissed off. And if you look at the last 10 seasons, 3 defenses with the best opponents' points per game, the lowest, made the national championship game. Florida State 2013, they won. Alabama 2017, they won. Alabama 2012, they won. Georgia at 9.6 points per game. Harry, you like them too.
Yeah, look, solid leader here in Stetson Bennett, as you mentioned, Sal. He's got at least 3 touchdowns the last 3 games. Basically let Bama have that SEC championship game after the 10-0 lead. Showed nothing, showed Crimson Tide nothing, which now looks very smart. And speaking of smart, I think it's the dogs and Kirby Smart's time. Bama has just had some fortunate wins. Sal, you mentioned the LSU, the Auburn game. They lost to a 4-loss A&M team. Georgia's defense giving up 17 points or less in every single game except that SEC champ title game. Brian Robinson, who looked fantastic running the ball for Alabama last week against Cincinnati, only had 55 in that title game. Georgia's defense, I think, here is going to be the difference. Give me the dogs in a big way too. Sal, I'm going to take a couple of those props too. Georgia to win by 10-14.
Yeah, it's nice adjusted lines there. Nice adjusted line to it. It's might not be close either way. I don't know. Take both minus 9.5. You probably end up winning. Bri, you're sitting there like shaking your head like, listen, we're gonna look up. Nick Saban's gonna be hoisting the trophy again. Doesn't matter, and especially as an underdog. I think they're 5-1 the last 6 games. Point differential plus 14.7 or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking Bama at 2.5, and I would probably, if you can get that up to 3, definitely get it there. I mean, probably not giving up too much there. But yeah, I think Harry might, Harry's talking about the dogs a lot, but might be on the wrong dogs. I mean, it's hard to bet. I mean, it really is hard to bet against Saban as an underdog in this game. And I know a Parlay Kid had mentioned the Mechie injuries. This game could be a little bit different, even though Bryce Young shredded them. But I didn't think Bennett would have a huge game against Michigan. He proved me wrong. But against Bama, I guess the question is, will he turn the ball over? Will he not turn the ball over? And it's like, I don't think so. I think he's still likely to make a mistake or two against Bama. Both defenses are great. They're both great against the run. And, I even though Robinson last week I thought was phenomenal running the ball, but so it's gonna come down to Young and Saban versus Smart and Bennett. And to me, I was like, when you look at that, it's like I gotta go with Bama, especially if I'm getting up to 3 points here.
It is weird to stare at the line for a while. You think your eyes are playing tricks on you, especially after they won a couple of weeks ago. All right, yes. Championship game tonight. FanDuel Sportsbook hooking new customers up 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win. You bet $5, win 150 on either team, Alabama or Georgia. My bet would be on Georgia. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook using promo code Against All Odds and make a deposit to claim your 30-1 enhanced odds. Simple and easy to use, safe and secure. When you win, FanDuel pays you your winnings in as little as 2 hours. If you already have a FanDuel Sportsbook account, they're hooking you up with $50 when you refer a friend, plus your friend gets $50, and then that friend probably gets $50. I don't know how this works. No, I think it just stops at the one friend. But don't miss your chance to win $150 off a $5 bet. Download the app, FanDuel, sportsbook.fanduel.com, and sign up using promo code Against All Odds to get 30-1 odds on either team to win. Let's pick our props here. I'm going Bryce Young under 2.5 touchdowns. I know this is risky, even though it's high vig here, minus 164. I don't like giving that out in these individual picks. And it's tough to bet against the Heisman Trophy winner who already had a big game against Georgia. But I really feel Bama played their A-list of A-list games in that matchup. And Young barely got the 3 touchdowns passing. And before Bama, Georgia's defense hadn't allowed a 3-touchdown passer all year. In fact, no one had over 1. I thought about Bryce Young under total yards, but there might be in come from behind mode for the majority of the game. So I'm going under 2.5 touchdowns. I think they scored 2 as a team. One of them will be rushing. Get me Bryce Young under 2.5 touchdowns, minus 164. Harry, you are going the other side, other quarterback over.
Yeah, and also at minus 164, I'm going to take Stetson Bennett over 1.5 touchdowns for the game. 7 of his last 9 games, 2 or more. He had 3 versus Michigan on just 20 completions, 3 versus Bama in the SEC title game, 4 in the game regular season to close the regular season out against Georgia Tech on just 14 completions. He's been a leader on this team, senior leader. I think he gets it done here in this big-time game. He gets at least 2.
All right, Parlay Kid, you going with your prop.
Yeah, I'm going James Cook here, over 21.5 yards receiving. He really sliced and diced against Michigan for 112 yards receiving. It seems to be that he, in these bigger games or the more important games, he's more of a threat out of the backfield. He averages about 25 yards receiving per game, which is over the number anyway. But in the big games and the more highly contested games for them, the 3 or 4 of them that they played this year, his receiving yards were up. This game will be close. Bennett will use him as an outlet on some short passes, and he's capable of breaking 1 catch and getting this over 21.5 yards pretty quickly. They threw the ball downfield to him too, once or twice. They got him matched up against a linebacker. So he obviously has good hands. This only might take 1 or 2 catches for him to go over the 21.5 yards here. So, all
right, brother Bryce, Amir White under, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to take him under 47.5. All you hear about is how good Georgia's run defense is, but Bama's run defense is basically just as good. And at some point, the thing was with White, it's funny. I remember hearing, he was the next great Georgia running back, but he's never really been dominant. And the one thing I would really look at is he doesn't get many carries, right? Like Parlay Kid was saying, he likes Cook. Cook will get as many carries, if not potentially more, And then he's also the bigger weapon in the passing game. So you see him a lot more. I think in order for him to go over 47.5, I mean, he's probably averaging over the last couple of games about 8 carries per game. And against Bama's D, who barely gives up any yards, I mean, I think he's got to either break a long one or he's going to have to get like 13 to 15 carries. And I just don't see it because I think Bennett's going to have to probably throw the ball in this game. So I think they keep him in check, and I'm going under 47.5.
All right. Well, you know what? I don't care if he gets 1 yard. But I hope it's a first quarter plunge into the end zone. And I think that's what's going to happen. I'm taking Zamir White first touchdown. Now, Brother Brian nailed this in the semifinal games. He picked both of them. Both first touchdowns, 10-1.
Yep.
What did we say the odds were? 120-1 that you'd get 2 of those back to back? Insanity. Yeah. Let's keep it going. I don't even know how much money we've made you on the first touchdown bets. It's crazy. But I'm going Zamir White. He doesn't score a ton lately. He has 10 touchdowns overall. Most of them were early in the year. He had 2 against Auburn, 2 against Arkansas and Bumper Pool. But against Michigan, I think he's going to get more of the workload there. He had almost twice as many carries as James Cook and Kendall Milton against Michigan. He'll be Georgia's guy down low. I see him breaking one from 17 yards out halfway through the first quarter, giving Georgia a 10-0 lead. Hopefully they don't sit on that 10-0 lead. Parlay Kid, first touchdown for you. You're going his contemporary.
I'm gonna stay with my boy James Cook. 7 rushing touchdowns this year, 4 receiving touchdowns. He's been hot lately near the end zone. Again, I like the fact that he's versatile here at 10-1. Let's ride with the other Georgia running back.
All right, let's do that. That'd be nice if they're down at the 4, right? With 10 minutes left.
One of us could get, yes, that's right.
There you go.
Or Brian's guy.
That's right. All right, Brian, go ahead. Hit it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Bowers and Williams are the clear favorites right here. And they probably, they both had monster games in the SEC championship. They should probably have big games again. But I'm going to try and hit, a decent one again. I'm going to go with Ja'Cory Brooks at 14-1. The thing is, you guys are all, you're all over Georgia here. I feel like we need some Bama representation.
You're probably
on this
right.
side. So the funny thing is, right, I know Parlay Kid was saying he wasn't sure, aside from Williams, if anybody could really make a play. But, and the funny thing is Brooks only has 9 catches on the season, but he's a freshman. He's the one that's filling in for Mechie. He stepped up big in the Cincy game. He had about 66 yards and a touchdown. He does have 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Right. He has one of those 5-star recruits, although I guess Bama's whole team really is. Pretty much. But I think he's going to have a big role tonight. I could see somebody new. You always get for Bama 1 or 2 guys, really young guys stepping up in these big games, and I think it's going to be him.
All right, Harry. I mean, I think we already have it between White, Brooks, or Cook, but if you want to add one too.
I'm going to include Bulldog wide receiver Jermaine Burton at 19-1. He does have, I think it's pretty good value for a guy who's got 2 first touchdowns for the Bulldogs this season. He had a 73-yard first touchdown against UAB, deep threat. Had a 57-yard touchdown against Michigan last week, and did score a touchdown against Bama last season. So at 19-1, Jermaine Burton for the Bulldogs.
All right, there you go. We will be back tomorrow to probably bemoan our losses, except for the first touchdown, which we win all the time.